tonight, flights resume. After the FAA grounded thousands of flights delayed or canceled this morning because of a system-wide outage, the White House caught flat-footed.
We don't know what the cause of it is.
Plus, condemning violence.
It's just unconscionable, and to date, there's been no administration of justice in those systems.
The House resolution to condemn attacks on churches and pro-life groups. And burnout.
The healthcare systems have been overrun.
The crisis leading to a shortage of healthcare professionals. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. Air travel in America comes to a screeching halt. Good evening in Washington, D.C. I'm Jenna Browder. A messy day for flyers this morning, the first mandatory grounding of all domestic flights since 9/11. The FAA eventually lifted the order, saying it stemmed from a computer failure. President Biden now calling for a full investigation. Brody Carter has our top story. Brody, all of this began before the sun came up this morning. What's the status of domestic flights tonight?
Well, Jenna, things are back up and running, but today's glitch had a snowball effect on all flights into or out of the United States. That adds up to more than 8,000 delays and at least 1,200 cancellations so far.
House Republicans are hitting the ground running, and we are laser focused on passing our Commitment to America agenda and much needed critical oversight of the Biden.
A lot of confusion.
Mounting delays and long lines are adding to that frustration after an FAA meltdown. In a tweet, the transportation agency said the problem stems from an overnight outage with its Notice to Air Missions system, used to alert pilots of closed runways, equipment outages, and other potential hazards along a flight path.
I just spoke with Buttigieg. They don't know what the cause is, but I was on the phone in about 10 minutes. I told them to report directly to me when they find out.
The Transportation Department is leading an investigation into what led to a system outage. No details have been made public yet.
The ground stop's been lifted. We'll have more soon.
Although the FAA resumed domestic travel by around 9 a.m., the damage was already done, causing major headaches for travelers, with thousands of flights either delayed or canceled.
I'm hoping that I don't have to drive from Detroit to Memphis.
I'm going to sit tight, see what happens. If the flight's delayed even further, I'm just going to cancel it.
I'm really upset, but what can I do?
But it makes you kind of nervous. Is there something else that maybe we're not being told right now?
At this point, the glitch is raising many questions while causing a monumental inconvenience as it continues to impact almost all flights from shipping to passenger.
We do not have evidence that this outage was caused by a cyber attack. The FAA is working aggressively to get to the bottom of the root causes for the system outage so that it does not happen again.
I hope they get it fixed quickly, and once they get it fixed, I hope they upgrade it so it doesn't happen again, because for the whole country to be shut down, this is amazing.
Today's incident comes just weeks after Southwest canceled thousands of flights due to logistics and its flight path model. Also, a technological meltdown back in June. Some aviation analysts believe the FAA system is outdated. In fact, Pete Buttigieg told CNN today an outdated system should be a key question for officials to look at as they move forward in this investigation. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Brady, thank you very much. Daniel McCoy covers aviation for the Wichita Business Journal, and he joins us now. Daniel, welcome. So if today's situation is due to old FAA technology failing, could we see something like this happen again?
Unfortunately, I think that's the fear that many folks have. We're talking about a decades-old system here, and similar to what we saw, as you mentioned, with Southwest recently, a failure maybe to stay ahead of the technology and the technical infrastructure. It leads to these glitches that snowball into massive problems. So it's tough to say until we have kind of a definitive answer on what exactly happened, what caused this outage. But it certainly has raised some alarm bells throughout the industry and among the flying public.
Yeah, it created a lot of headaches for a lot of people today. Do you think the FAA will update its technology after this? How big of a lift would that be for the agency?
Well, it would definitely be a heavy lift. I think we'll have to see more information come out again to the root cause of this. But technology infrastructure has been a hot topic throughout aviation, every sector from production to the air service network itself. So I think certainly they'll have to take a good hard look at this system, and they'll have to identify any weaknesses or build in redundancies or a full upgrade of some kind, because this was obviously problematic. But given that they were able to lift it in a few hours, you see what just a few hours does to the network when it's down. So we have all these cascading issues now, and now the airlines have to scramble and already tight on labor. They have to make sure they have crews at new destinations for flights that were scheduled. So we'll see how much this snowballs and compounds over the next couple of days. So I'm sure it's something that the FAA is going to have to look at pretty intently here in the next few weeks as all this kind of begins to be dissected.
Do you think all of this, Daniel, has led customers to lose confidence in the American airline system?
I don't know about lose confidence. I think my general take, and we have here in Wichita an annual report that Wichita State takes part in on airline quality ranking. And speaking to the authors of that over really the last decade or so, every year as that comes out, unfortunately for the flying public, we've become accustomed to just kind of getting what we get, unfortunately, to a large degree. I don't know that anybody expects headache-free travel to any major extent anymore. Certainly, we saw that with Southwest over Christmas, and now we have this here. So hopefully it's a sign that some of these problems will begin to get worked out, and that there'll be some needed spending. Of course, when you talk about the FAA, that could be taxpayer spending, so you have a whole different story there. But certainly some of these antiquated systems, as they cause problems, it adds to the normal headache of travel, whether that's baggage or delays and things for other reasons. So I don't know about have lost confidence, but I don't think anyone goes in expecting an overall pleasurable experience anymore.
All right, Daniel McCoy of the Wichita Business Journal, we appreciate your time. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
On Capitol Hill, the House GOP is trying to get a move on its agenda.
House Republicans are hitting the ground running, and we are laser focused on passing our Commitment to America agenda and much needed critical oversight of the Biden administration.
Republicans revealed what they call the Commitment to America ahead of last year's midterm elections. It highlights four main focuses: a strong economy, a safe nation, a future that's built on freedom, and a government that's accountable. As part of that accountability, the GOP says it's working to preserve constitutional reforms like free speech, religious freedom, and protecting the lives of the unborn. Today, two abortion-related resolutions were introduced in the House. One on partial birth abortion that garnered criticism from many Democratic lawmakers.
I've seen this before. Extremist views criminalizing a medical choice that has to be made. Criminalizing abortion from east to west and north to south. I will not have it.
Even with the opposition from the other side of the aisle, House Republicans remain committed to pro-life measures. Capitol Hill correspondent Matt Galka spoke with one congressman about how abortion laws could take shape in this new Congress.
Republicans promised to protect life if they regain control of the House. Bills attempting to do just that hit the House floor this week, with more likely on the way. Pro-life tracking groups say at least 78 crisis pregnancy center attacks have happened since the leak of the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision. While the violence is evident, Louisiana Congressman Mike Johnson criticizes the lack of response from the Justice Department.
You had all these, pro-abortion groups that engaged in violence and vandalism and intimidation openly in front of the cameras and all the American people. And they torched and vandalized and destroyed property of pro-life organizations and churches and groups and pro-life centers. It's just unconscionable. And to date, there's been no administration of justice in those systems. And so Congress needs to condemn it.
Although his resolution does not carry penalties, it could lead to more action from law enforcement. It's one of multiple pro-life priorities getting attention in the new Congress as the debate continues over how the government should respond to last year's Supreme Court decision.
Let me be clear. I condemn violence in all of its forms. In fact, here's a fact. At clinics that provide abortion services, attacks are on the rise, increasing 128% in just 1 year. The resolution before us today falls short of condemning violence.
We should do all in our power to stand for life and to ensure that the unborn get to live out each of the days that God ordained for them before one ever came to be.
Before the November election, a Democrat-led House moved to codify abortion rights as various states moved to restrict the procedure. But the bill got no traction beyond the House. Now a Republican House majority looks to pass more bills protecting life. While Representative Johnson doubts they'll make it through the Democrat-controlled Senate, the GOP is playing the long game.
I think we have some work to do, but I think there, for example, the condemnation of the violence against pro-life centers, that should pass the Senate. Who could go on record and say they think that's okay? So we'll present to them some challenging things. If they're going to vote against it, I think the voters will take that into account in the next cycle in 2024.
Codifying the Hyde Amendment to permanently ban any federal funding for abortions is also set to be an early priority for the House. Still, some Republicans have already called for more work on bills that support women and families with unplanned pregnancies, bills that could have a chance in getting bipartisan support. Matt Gelka, CBN News.
Thank you, Matt. Well, an amazing answer to prayers from people across the country. Tonight, Damar Hamlin is home from the hospital. The Buffalo Bills player was admitted last week after suffering cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football. But today, the Bills tweeted the 24-year-old has been released, Hamlin's doctor, saying he was safely discharged to continue his rehabilitation at home and with the Bills. Immigration in America coming up, how big cities are handling an influx of people coming over the southern border.
Are you suffering from feeling tired or worn out during the day? Can you not turn off your brain at night? You are not alone. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, and I've partnered with the Christian Broadcasting Network, and we're going to bring you some unbelievable information that you can use tonight to get a better night's rest.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Protect Your Sleep today.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man, come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Welcome back. While the Biden administration looks to rein in illegal immigration, cities from coast to coast are struggling with the influx of migrants pouring over the southern border every day. Because overwhelmed border communities can't handle them all, they're being bused or flown across the country on the taxpayer dime. And in most cases, their new communities aren't prepared to handle them. CBN's Tara Merchner is here now with more. Tara, this appears to be a rapidly growing problem.
Jenna, it really
And by all accounts, this is a policy matter of national importance, one following the Biden administration's decision to admit millions of migrants, about 3 million and counting, just in the last year who cross here illegally and in most cases remain in the U.S. There are cries from both sides of the aisle now sounding the alarm, with a bipartisan group of lawmakers visiting the border this week.
Senator Kirsten Sinema here from Arizona. I'm here at the El Paso border. Right here, just several weeks ago, we saw nearly 3,000 migrants entering into the U.S. at this very spot. This again highlights the failure of the federal government to take action to secure our border and ensure a humane process for migrants who are entering our country.
Meanwhile, from D.C. to Denver, there's just not enough temporary housing, shelters, and resources in the overstretched major cities. So, like in many communities, places like libraries and gyms are being used to house them all. Since December 9th, more than 4,000 migrants have arrived in Denver alone, either stopping on the way to their final destinations or to put down roots. A week ago, the Denver Office of Emergency Management says it had nearly 2,000 people at one time in facilities all around the city. And now it's planning to limit migrant emergency shelter stays to 2 weeks, a plan immigration advocates insist is irresponsible. But taking care of all of these people due to the expense and logistics is a really tall order. Jenna.
Tara, of course there's the immediate humanitarian crisis, but what's the long-term thinking about integrating refugees successfully into U.S. communities?
You know, that is a great question being brought more and more. There's a lot of concern about the culture shock alone, with nearly all of these migrants not able to speak the language or have the ability to legally earn a living here. Now, the Biden administration has not been able to answer how these cities and towns will be able to sustain the relentless arrival of people in need. For example, who's on the hook to pay to house, educate, and feed them all indefinitely? In Texas, the Attorney General just filed a lawsuit to stop the president from ignoring a federal immigration law known as the public charge rule that prevents migrants from living here if they rely on taxpayer-funded programs or are likely to do so. Jenna.
All right, senior Washington correspondent Tara Mergener. Thank you, Tara. Healthcare burnout. Why so many workers are leaving the field, and what it could mean for your medical needs next.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
U.S. troops are no longer required to be vaccinated against COVID-19, the Pentagon formally ending its mandate. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin made it official in a memo Tuesday night, noting he was required to rescind the mandate for armed forces. after President Biden signed the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act into law last month. Austin made it a point to give commanders some discretion in how or whether to deploy troops who are not vaccinated. In New York, more than 7,000 nurses are taking a stand, striking for a third straight day today, about 3 years into the fight against COVID-19. Workers on the front line say they need more resources.
We're working hard. We worked through the pandemic and we have short staffing. They brought in traveler nurses. It doesn't fill the gap. We still have a bunch of vacancies and we're overworked.
Nurses are demanding more staff, more money. Union representatives and two of New York's biggest hospital systems are negotiating. Well, a big factor leading to that strike is pandemic burnout. Since 2020, healthcare workers have been treating more patients and working longer hours. As Lori Johnson reports, in an industry already facing staff shortages since COVID, many are walking away.
A major reason driving this crisis is the record number of elderly people in America. A huge generation of geriatrics with ever-increasing medical needs. At the same time, older healthcare workers are choosing to retire.
Healthcare has been experiencing a shortage of nurses and other healthcare workers for long before the pandemic. And we just expect that to intensify as baby boomers continue to age and as they continue to leave the workforce.
That's due to high burnout rates beginning before 2020. Then the pandemic made it even worse. Nearly 20% left their job in the last 2 years.
The healthcare systems have been overrun, especially the emergency rooms and the ICUs, where you're taking care of people who are very sick from this pandemic and then also being asked to take care of additional patients or work additional hours. It's a lot of additional emotional burden for us to carry.
The shortages run the gamut: lab technicians, aides, respiratory therapists, you name it. Experts tell lawmakers the U.S. needs 200,000 nurses per year to meet the increased need. And we face a shortage of up to 124,000 doctors by 2034.
Those numbers are scary because as you and I are all getting old, we will need care. And that care may not be there.
In one effort to get more doctors, medical schools are accepting more applicants. That's only part of the solution, however, as there's also a need to increase the number of physician residency positions. Residency is the period of required training after medical school, but before doctors get their medical license and can practice on their own. Resident physicians generally train at teaching hospitals like Sentara Norfolk General for anywhere from 3 to 7 years, depending on their chosen field of medicine. The federal government covers those costs for the most part at a price tag of about $1 million per resident. That allocation, though, has remained largely frozen since 1997, definitely not keeping up with the increased need.
For a while there was we built medical schools without increasing the residency training capacity, and there was a bottleneck.
That traffic jam could open up if Congress passes legislation to pay for another 14,000 residency positions. Some would be specifically for rural areas because after residency, doctors often stay put.
Roughly 20-25% of America lives in rural America, but only 10% of the physicians are in rural America.
Other new incentives may also help alleviate this shortage.
Often, if you're in an underserved area, there's lots of loan forgiveness programs, both through governments and states, but also through hospital systems.
Telehealth, one silver lining from the pandemic, allows fewer workers to see more patients. When it comes to nurses, one issue we found is that thousands of qualified nursing school applicants are being turned away. The blame is on enrollment caps, not enough full-time faculty, and a lack of clinical sites. To fix this and get more nurses into the field, some states are raising those caps, allowing part-time faculty to fill the gaps, and letting nursing students substitute clinical training with simulation hours.
Yeah, generally, I think all of the changes that I've seen are things that are important changes.
Meanwhile, hospitals do what they can to keep the nurses they have.
The 5% market increase and the benefits enhancements that we've just announced in the last few weeks are meant to ensure that we recognize our team members' contributions and that we remain competitive in the markets that we serve.
So while America invents new ways to attract and retain healthcare workers, young people who are wondering what they'll do when they grow up, and adults who might be looking to change careers may find healthcare appealing. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Still ahead, a rare sight in Southern California. What has people flocking to one suburb? When Faith Nation returns.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible,
yes,
Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link. Tuesday morning at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Finally tonight, a rare sight is drawing onlookers and bringing joy to flood-ravaged Southern California. A once quiet street in the city of Cypress, now lined with excited spectators hoping to catch a glimpse of an unexpected visitor. A rare snowy owl mysteriously found itself far from home. The Arctic native first appeared last month, coming and going from a perch on a 2-story house. Experts say spotting a snowy owl as far south as Orange County is extremely rare. Now thousands of visitors are flocking to catch a glimpse of the bird with bright yellow eyes, some even traveling from out of town. That is a beautiful bird. All right, we're going to leave it there tonight. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.